The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air. How you are fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. How you are cut down to the ground. You who weakened the nations. For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will also sit on the mount of the congregation on the farthest sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet you shall be brought down to Sheol, to the lowest depths of the pit. Those who see you will gaze at you and consider you, saying, is this the man who made the earth tremble, who shook kingdoms, who made the world as a wilderness and destroyed its cities, who did not open the house of his prisoners? And the kings of the nations, all of them, sleep in glory, everyone in his own house. But you are cast out of your grave, like an abominable branch, like a garment of those who are slain, thrust through with a sword, who go down to the stones of the pit like a corpse trodden underfoot. You will not be joined with them in burial, because you have destroyed your land and slain your people. The brood of evildoers shall never be named. Prepare slaughter for his children because of the iniquity of their fathers, lest they rise up and possess the land and fill the face of the world with cities. In this episode, we dive into Isaiah's intense prophecy against Babylon, a message of judgment, justice, and ultimate restoration. While the proud fall, God's plan rises. We'll explore how even in wrath, God reveals hope, and how the downfall of kingdoms echoes the rise of his eternal rule. Let's unpack the truth behind the fall of the proud and the rise of the redeemed. As always, be blessed and enjoy. All right, welcome back to another episode of a Breath of Fresh Air podcast, here with your hosts,
Nakhaz Gay
and Earl Roberts. Hopefully everyone had a great week. Thank you for tuning into episode 243. This last week was 242, so this one is easy to remember. How you been, man? How's your week been?
Pretty busy. It's interesting, bro. When you about to go on vacation, sometimes you just have to put in double the work.
Mm-hmm.
And that ain't only just at my job, but also, in school, because I won't be checked out. You know what I mean? I don't want to check no email. I don't want to do nothing. You know what I mean? But by the grace of God, thankful, bro. I feel good for this Sabbath. I feel I can get a lot of rest. I actually home alone this Sabbath, traveling on business and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, just pray that I get some good rest and be able to hit it hard next week.
My boy gonna rest, and then sunset, my boy gonna get these assignments and work out.
Get to it. But how about
all right. For my week's been busy, bro. My week's been busy. Week has been very busy, but God is good.
Amen.
God's definitely been good. So can't complain. Happy for the weekend as always. Yeah, man. Happy for the weekend as always. I'm telling you, right before the podcast, I was outside trying to cut down one of the trees in the yard. The one's in the front. So if my mommy had it, she could be like, you try to cut down the big tree in the back. Nope, that is still alive and strong. And I am not endangering the health of that tree in any way, shape, or form. So it'll be strong when the next hurricane comes through.
Boy, but yeah, once it stays strong.
Exactly. Exactly. That all that thing doing is just dumping leaves in everybody yard.
That's I think that's the one thing that just helped me being anti-tree. Like I get it, it's good for oxygen and for the environment and all
But
that.
it's good for every place else but my yard. Especially like this is an oak tree, bro. So just producing acorns, bro. Like it ain't even producing like a fruit. If it was like a mango tree or something, I'd have been like, cool. You actually providing the good to the neighborhood. All you doing is got has some squirrels in my yard. I saw like I complaining, right? But I'm kind of complaining. But you got a bunch of squirrels in my yard digging holes to bury their nuts,
Mhm.
and you just dumping leaves, bro. Like a oak tree dumps an incredible amount of leaves. It is crazy the amount of leaves that the oak tree dumps.
That's to me that's the biggest thing with trees, bro. It's the leaves, bro. It's the leaves that I just cannot get behind. But like this work it just don't have no benefit to me, bro. Like you know what I mean? You do it and you gotta do it again and again and again. Bro,
Yeah.
just get rid of this tree.
But at this point where these leaves just turned into soil in my backyard, I even stopped raking them up, bro. They just it's just soil.
They could block the sun from the grass though.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing now. But the tree's so big, the tree itself blocking the sun from the grass.
That's
That's
true.
like, but that tree is massive, bro. And it's
People
very expensive to cut down, so that's why it's also still up.
very expensive to
But
cut trees, bro.
yeah, man, God is good. Another Sabbath, another time to rest and just spend some time with God, some quality time. So yeah, man, I happy at least. I just be looking forward to the weekends now, even though the weekends just don't last as long as they used to when we was kids. But I feel like the weekends used to last so long when you was a kid. Nowadays, like you blink and you right back to wake on Monday. Like I'm just like, this gotta be more to life than this.
Yeah,
oh,
bro.
oh my. So I I don't have to think. We should be doing Proverbs 15, technically. So let me go to Proverbs 15.
Proverbs chapter 15.
Proverbs 15. Aha. Okay.
Oh, so
Okay.
sound familiar. You might get a popular phrase.
Yeah. It's the first one. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a
That's it.
harsh
That's it right
word,
there. That's it right there. I say that all the time, bro. I say that all the time, bro.
but a harsh word stirs up anger. Boy, I lived that this week for real.
Mm,
The tongue of the wise adorns knowledge, but the mouth of a fool gushes folly. The eyes of the Lord are everywhere, keeping watch on the wicked and the good. A soothing tongue is a tree of life, but a perverse tongue crushes the spirit. A
mm,
fool spurns a parent's discipline, but whoever heeds correction shows prudence. The house of the righteous contains great treasure, but the income of the wicked brings ruin. The lips of the wise spread knowledge, but the hearts of fools are not upright. The Lord detests the sacrifice of the wicked, but the prayer of the upright pleases him. The Lord detests the way of the wicked, but he loves those who pursue righteousness. Stern discipline awaits anyone who leaves the path. The one who hates correction will die. Death and destruction lie before the Lord. How much more do death and destruction lie open before the Lord? How much more do human hearts?
mm,
Mockers resent correction, so they avoid the wise. A happy heart makes the face cheerful, but heartache crushes the spirit. The discerning heart seeks knowledge, but the mouth of a fool feeds on folly.
that's
All
crazy.
oh yeah, all the days of the oppressed are wretched, but the cheerful heart has a continual feast. Better a little with the fear of the Lord than great wealth with turmoil. Mercy. Better a small serving of vegetables with love than a fattened calf with hatred.
Mm,
Mercy. A hot tempered person stirs up conflict, but the one who is patient calms a quarrel. The way of the sluggard is blocked with thorns, but the path of the upright is a highway. A wise son brings joy to his father, but a foolish man despises his mother. Folly brings joy to one who has no sense, but whoever has understanding keeps a straight course. Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. I feel like my daddy told me that before. A person finds joy in giving an apt reply. And how good is a timely word? The path of life leads upward for the prudent to keep them from going down to the realm of the dead. The path of life leads upward for the prudent to keep them from going down to the realm of the dead. The Lord tears down the house of the proud, but he sets up the widow's boundary stones in place. The Lord detests the thoughts of the wicked, but gracious words are pure in his sight. The greedy bring ruin to their households, but the ones who hate bribes will live. The heart of the righteous weighs its answers, but the mouth of the wicked gushes evil. The Lord is far from the wicked, but he hears the prayers of the righteous. Light in a messenger's eyes brings joy to the heart, and good news gives health to the bones. Whoever heeds life giving correction will be at home among the wise. Those who disregard discipline despise themselves, but the one who heeds correction gains understanding. Wisdom's instruction is to fear the Lord, and humility comes before honor.
Yeah. A few themes that they reiterating things that you just should not forget. Like even our last one I read in the King James, the fear of
Mm-hmm.
the Lord is the instruction of wisdom. It's fearing God, bro. Like just listening to wisdom
Mm-hmm.
comes from fearing God. Um, so many gems in this one. But the first one I want to go back to is like the first verse. A soft answer turned away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. I always read this text for most,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say, bro, but why do I want to turn away wrath? I don't want to turn away wrath. If you insult me, I ain't turning away no wrath, boy. I trying to, I mod, so now you could be mod. You feel me?
My boy wants all the smoke.
That's true, but when they say anger lies in the bosom of fools, you say
Mm-hmm.
let's avoid getting angry at all costs. You see what I'm saying? Like
Boy, that's the truth.
every somebody make me so mad this week, bro. At the mechanic make me so mad, bro. Like they was just being difficult. I was being polite the whole time, but I was being stern.
Mm-hmm.
But they just was really being difficult with me. You see what I'm saying? And
They
I
trying to
leave that.
oversell you?
No, bro. So basically, they fix a light on my car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, I was can do it myself, but it was so cheap, like $12. Like, anyway, I'll just do it. Then I'll just
Mm-hmm.
let. A couple of days later, I realized the light break again,
Mm-hmm.
and so I never realized if they fix it or not. You see what I'm saying? So I gone back, but I couldn't go on back until like almost 2 weeks later. I gone back and they say, "No, man, we fixed that, bro." You know what I'm saying? Say the one was like, I just look on the camera, we fix it. I say, "Can I see?" No. I said, just let me see the thing. You know what I mean? No, I'm not obligated to do that. She just tell me straight up, I'm not obligated to do it. But I'm like, bro, it don't matter what you obligated to or not, bro. I could go on my way. I got a paper to write, bro. I could go about my day on my way if you just show me it. But other than that, you expect me to take your word for it. But I was polite and calm. I was like, bro, let me see it, bro. We had go back and forth. She didn't do it. And then I say, everything cool, but I called customer service to give me a refund, whatever. But to me, that was kind of crazy because that could have easily been a route. Even though I
Mm-hmm.
made a spot, I turn it up, bro. You say,
Mm-hmm.
saying? I keep the soft answer or whatever. And
Boy, I
but
tell you.
even but even leaving there, I like, bro, why do I want to turn away Rod, bro? I want you to be mad too, because you making me mad, bro. You see what I'm saying? But it's like just in general, bro, like in terms of like just being wise, bro. Let's just avoid anger. You ain't saying
Yep.
avoid conflict because that could happen regardless, but let's just avoid turning things up. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Especially when it ain't no resolve gonna come out of just arguing.
Mm-hmm. I had
Yeah.
the same interaction this week with like a coworker who said something that was like disrespectful, and I was like, anyway, I could really turn this up a notch right now, but that ain't gonna benefit no one.
But it
It's,
never feel good.
wait, dog. Let me tell you, bro. I was hot like a six, bro. Because I'm like, bro, I could make your life really difficult right now, too.
Right? We could do it, bro. Like
like,
dance if you want to.
like, hey, I
Uh,
hold cards, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, it is
you should
either
think twice before doing this, bro. Like,
I say anyway, I say everything cool. I say, boy, this would be the Christian thing to do right now. Let me just, turn the radar off. I guess I could bottle it up. Everything cool. Everything cool. But yeah, bro. Like, and again, right? So like when we talk about proverbs, it ain't talking about feelings. It's talking about wisdom.
mm,
And a lot of times, like the wisest thing to do might not be the popular thing to do, or might not even be the thing that feel good in the moment. You know what I'm saying? So and that's what you got to realize too, because you see a lot of these things talking about like anger. And we talk about controlling your emotions, and that's really like not doing the impulsive thing that comes to your mind in the moment.
mm,
Someone make you angry, don't respond. Don't be quick to get angry when someone do something that provokes you. Take a breath, take a breather. That ain't common society telling you these things. You know what I'm saying? Like everything saying, bro, someone do something to you, bro, crash out on them, bro. Don't let them
mm,
take advantage of you. Bro, don't let them disrespect you like that. Don't let them tell you like, you lesser than and that type of thing, bro. Like, no, don't stand for that. And you like, yeah, at the end of the day, you're like, all right, this just problems is gonna be avoided. You might look like lesser than, but at the same time, it's just an interesting message to absorb. It's the wise thing to do, just to like turn down the anger, turn down the temperature of the room.
because remember when they talk about, I don't know if we gone over. I think we did. Yeah, we went over this. The seven things. I think it's like seven things that are an abomination to God. Right.
Mm-hmm.
One of them things is a proud look, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Right. A proud look. Now you can interpret that as you walk around looking proud. Excuse me. Or you look at things from the perspective of pride. Like you see things through the vision of pride. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, at the core of it all is pride. It's pride, bro. You don't feel good when you beat a bigger man
Yep.
because your pride is hurt. You see,
Mm-hmm.
it's things I do, bro. The right thing, bro. Years later, every time I think, but I still get mad, bro. Because to me, bro, there was no benefit to me to do this, bro. You see what I
That's
saying?
the serious thing, bro. It's never be a benefit. But even in this chapter, it's just the Lord tears down the house of the proud. Chapter
Right.
verse 25. Like it letting you know, like the pride is a serious thing, bro. Think about it. Pride is what really caused Lucifer to fall.
Yeah.
His
The Bible
pride.
says pride come before the fall too. That's another text, bro. And it's like the benefit is that you doing the wise thing and you doing the godly thing. That's the benefit, right? But in terms of immediate result, like there's no immediate result. And you're probably gonna get blessed, or even if you don't, even if you can't even track it, you know what I mean? Just rest assured that you're doing the godly thing, and
Mm-hmm.
the thing that is going to minimize problems down the road. That's another thing. That's another thing to realize, bro. Because you might react, and that might have consequences. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, some people trick you out your position.
Yeah.
The, verse 8: the sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, but the prayer of the upright is His delight. Now that's one of them texts that I usually is refer to when we talk about our righteousness as filthy rags, because that's essentially the essence of this text. You can see this in the book of Isaiah chapter 1, and I think 65 or 66. And then there's other verses in this book, and we're gonna tackle it when we get there too. But in the book of Isaiah, I'm talking about. But it's like you hear it. It says the sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination. Now, what's interesting, it doesn't specify the sacrifice. The assumption here is that you're doing the right sacrifice, like you're sacrificing you grain or a lamb or ox. But basically, because you are wicked, God is disgusted by your sacrifice. That's essentially what abomination is. It's a
Mm-hmm.
disgusting thing, repulsive thing to God. Like, bro, I just can't stand to see you faking like you doing something earnest when you really just do not have light in you. That's the way God looks at that. But the prayer of the upright is His delight. You know, and so that's why when I get to my point when I say our righteousness are as filthy rags. I think the bigger issue, the bigger point that people need to focus on is not that there's no good thing you could do for God. Here it says the prayer of the upright is God's delight, bro. God
Mm-hmm.
delights in prayers from the upright, right? God delights in righteousness from the righteous. But when you are wicked, doing righteous, it's like you cosplaying because it's a matter of earnestness and it's a matter of like honesty on was repentance, true repentance of the heart. And so that that was one of them lines that kind of reminded me of that too. But yeah, overall, it's a lot of text that show just the matter of heart. You know what I'm saying? The heart of him that hath understanding seeketh knowledge. That's verse 14. But the mouth of fools feedeth on foolishness. Better is little with the fear of the Lord than great
Mm-hmm.
treasure and trouble therewith. You know what I mean? Like,
A wise son makes the fathers glad, but a foolish man despises his mother.
oh boy. So many things, but like even down to like just being a follower of just
Mm-hmm.
like only pleasures, bro. Like all you doing is consuming entertainment. I was in that trap for a while, bro, and I would look up and see that I'm not getting anything accomplished. Nothing. I wake up, I pray, read the Bible, but I listen to my favorite podcast that ain't talking about nothing. You see
Mm-hmm.
that? I watching shows that ain't talking about. I actually cannot wait to watch my favorite shows. That's just entertaining me. All it is, bro. You know what I mean? And it's like you gotta have you gotta have balance. The heart of him that has understandeth seeketh knowledge, but the mouth of fools feed on foolishness. You see what I'm saying? It's like it's not a wise act to always just consume like things that like these 0 calorie
Mm-hmm.
content. And so yeah, man, these just words to live by. These just life lessons. And to me, there's so much truth in it. It's hard to practice, in all honesty. Like to practice every single thing they say in Proverbs, it's very hard. It's idealistic, but it is beneficial.
It's
You know,
wisdom.
yeah, it
It's
is.
definitely wisdom. Things we should aim to live by.
Yeah,
We
for sure.
definitely aim to live by. Right. So now we switched over to Isaiah 13, and we are essentially beginning a new, I won't say a new arc,
New
but
ch- yeah.
we begin like a new
Section.
story. Yeah, like a new section in the book of Isaiah now. So now we about to talk about Babylon. So, starting off in chapter 13. The burden against Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos saw. Lift up a banner on the high mountain. Raise your voice to them. Wave your hand, that they may enter the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for my anger, those who rejoice in my exaltation.
Mm,
The noise of the multitude in the mountains, like that of many people, the tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts musters the army for battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven. The Lord and his weapons of indignation to destroy the whole land. Wail, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It will come as destruction from the Almighty. Therefore, all hands will be limp. Every man's heart will melt, and they will all be afraid. Pangs and sorrows will take hold of them. They will be in pain as a woman in childbirth. They will be amazed at one another. Their faces will be like flames. Behold, the day of the Lord comes, cruel with both wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he will destroy its sinners from it. For the stars of heaven and their constellations will not give their light. The sun will be darkened in its going forth, and the moon will not cause its light to shine. I will punish the world for its evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. I will halt the arrogance of the proud, and I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a mortal more rare than fine gold, a man more than golden than the golden wedge of Ophir, the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore, I will shake the heavens, and the earth will move out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts. And in the day of his fierce anger, it shall be like a haunted gazelle, as a sheep that has no man takes, as and as a sheep that no man takes up. Every man will turn to his own people, and everyone will flee to his own land. Everyone who is found will be thrust through, and everyone who is captured will fall by the sword. Their children will also be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses will be plundered, and their wives ravished. Mercy. Just imagine hearing a word like this.
Yeah, but when it comes to the wife thing, that's when it's really hit like, oh, no. I gotta be righteous, man. You know what I mean? Like that would have do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I think about something like, bro, I want that happen to me.
Oh, Fox. Fox. I'm gonna just keep on going and we can talk about it out the end at this point.
All right.
Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. Who has not who will not regard silver, and as for gold, they will not delight in it. Also, their bows will dash the young man to pieces, and they will have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eye will not spare children, and Babylon, the glory of kingdoms. The beauty of the Chaldeans' pride will be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It will never be inhabited,
Mm.
nor will it be settled from generation to generation, nor will the Arabian pitch tents there, nor will the shepherds make their sheepfolds there, but the beasts of the deserts will lie there, and their houses will be full of owls. Ostriches will dwell there, and wild goats will caper there. The hyenas will howl in their citadels, and the jackals in their pleasant palaces. Her time is near to come, and her days will not be prolonged.
All right. So
Mercy,
real talk. So
mercy, mercy. Keep going.
let's
Yep.
back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We get to verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Remember context, right? The burden against Babylon, which Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the last chapter, we were talking about the branch, right? We were talking about basically Jesus coming, a descendant of Jesse, right? And this was a message of hope after talking about the punishments that's going to happen to Israel, but even more recently, the punishments that's going to happen. I'm sorry, Judah, but really the punishments also that's going to happen to Syria.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we consider this chapter, we ain't talking about Assyria no more,
Nope.
right? We talking about Babylon. We talking about a whole new nation of people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Assyria, Judah, Israel, Syria, all of these nations that we mentioned in the last like four episodes, they were relevant to the time that Isaiah was around because the war was happening in real time when the last set of prophecies were coming about. Some of the prophecies, like the prophecy to Syria, that was like a future tense, right? All of them were future tense, but some of them were specifically relevant to what's happening now. When God was talking to Ahaz, the King
Mm-hmm.
Ahaz, he was really in war. He was real. The war was currently happening when God gave him a message of hope for the future. God prophesied that the and the message of hope that God prophesied was that the Israelites and the Syrians are going to be, they're going to be hurt. They're going to go down in battle, etc. We learned that the Israelites are going to be completely devastated by the Assyrians, and then we learned that the Assyrians, in their arrogance, they're going to also be destroyed, right? And one thing that was kind of interesting to me when we were talking about the Assyrians specifically, I'm going to go back to chapter 10. Where in verse 5 it says, woe to Assyria, the rod of my anger, and the staff in whose my hand, in whose hand is my indignation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So God here is saying that, yo, well, trouble gonna come to these people. Y'all was my disciplinarians. Y'all was who I use to perform my indignation.
Mm-hmm.
And now in this chapter, in chapter 13, verse 5, right? We talking about Babylon. They come from a far country from the end of heaven, the Lord and his weapons of indignation to destroy the land, to destroy the land. We see consistently throughout these prophecies, God is mentioning that he is empowering nations to destroy other nations. And that's one thing that's very interesting because we often have the conversation of how involved is God on a day-to-day basis. Now, this is big level stuff because these are nations going against nations, but these nations that are being destroyed, they are being punished because of their wickedness. Even nations that God used to punish other nations, they are also being punished. And now Babylon is just the most recent example of this. And the last thing I want to say on that point is, remember I was mentioning that Ahaz and the Assyrians, these prophecies, I call them in context because this was something that was either happening or going to happen soon.
Mm-hmm.
When Isaiah lived, who was proclaiming this prophecy that he saw, the Babylonians were not in power
Nope.
during the lifetime of Isaiah.
Yep.
So this is a prophecy to come years after, even after he passed.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing about it. Like, you finish your point because I just gonna
Yeah, that's
piggyback
that's
off of it. So, like,
Mhm.
timeline wise, right? Like, this prophecy happened over a century after Isaiah had already passed,
Mm,
right? And so, in context now, right? The Babylonians never got this prophecy. This wasn't a prophecy for them. It was a
mhm.
prophecy about them, but it wasn't a prophecy to them. It was a prophecy to the Israelites,
Right,
letting them know that, hey, y'all gonna get y'all things, but don't think I'm not gonna deal with the people who oppress y'all either. It was like a weird prophecy of hope because y'all, I just already tell y'all about to get y'all things, definitely for disobeying me. I tell you the Assyrians gonna get their things. I let you know the Babylonians who gonna conquer them too, and also conquer y'all gonna get their things too. But the
right,
Babylonians didn't know about this. But you know what's also I find so interesting too, and we're gonna get to this, right? He prophesied the Medes and the Persians gonna conquer Babylon before Daniel.
right. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, before
Hundreds
that,
of years before Daniel.
that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like, and that didn't even click to me until just now when I was reading. I was like,
yeah, the V8s, yeah.
oh, he prophesied about the means before Daniel. Like,
Yeah, because my point was to just make sure to establish that in verse 1, it says, the burden against Babylon, which Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw. Like, this ain't to be mistaken because, scholars believe that Isaiah's followers wrote some chapters in XYZ, right? This was the Bible says Isaiah himself saw this. So
mm-hmm,
this would have, based on your point, this would have had to been given to Isaiah during his lifetime, obviously, which was over a century before these things actually came to pass. You see what I'm saying? And this is the importance of prophecy once again that we can see. Um, you know, you said something that was also was kind of funny to me because you say Judah gonna get their things, right? Meaning they're gonna get their punishment, they
mm-hmm.
justice, whatever, right? That was gonna come by Assyria. And God saying Assyria gonna get their things.
Yep.
That was gonna come by the Babylonians, right? But it ain't come, we ain't get to the point where we're like, all right, now y'all gonna be good though. Y'all gonna be good eventually, right? So the people, this is Judah. For those who listen in audio, I have my hand up right at one hand. I say the Assyrians on top, I put one hand on the other, right? The hand that's on top is Assyria, right? Assyria's over Judah. Now let's imagine a third hand. Babylon over Assyria, who's over Judah? You feel
Mm-hmm.
me? So like that's the progression of this prophecy and or these collection of prophecies that God is trying to get across. But bro, it's crazy, bro. Babylon specifically being named over 100 years prior to them even having their reign, you know. And then even talking about their fall, bro. Like it's funny because you talking about their reign and you talk about their fall, but they ain't even do nothing, bro. They ain't
Exactly. Like, they ain't even the main because Assyria was still the bad boys on the block. Like, again, Babylon was around, but they wasn't running the road as we would say.
even.
Y'all wasn't the dominant regional power at the point in time. You always honestly always kind of subservient to Assyria.
Mm. Yeah.
But yeah, bro, like yeah. All right. So
Now I'll be honest. I'm sure there's some more imagery in here that we overlooking, but the thing that stood out to me the most really was the fact the fact that this prophecy even exists. You see what I'm saying? Like that was the big thing. That was the big powerful thing to me because a lot of times when you try to go the academic route, the archaeological route, they're gonna say, "Oh, these things was written after the prophecies was already can't come to pass." So it wasn't prophecy; it was basically history. That's the way they put it. But that's really just a device of the enemy to sow seeds of discord and cause people not to believe in God and the true and cause people not to have true faith in God and His miraculous, prophetic powers that He's given to us throughout time. Because prophecy is still going to be important to us today and moving forward or whatever.
you know what's interesting to me?
Mm-hmm.
Um them talking like in verse 6, verse 9, I want to say 6 through 10, really, where they talking about like the day of the Lord, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know they specifically talking about Babylon in this particular context, right? But just so the day of the Lord is often referred to as like, the time of judgment, right? So we
Mm-hmm.
talk about this particular day of the Lord, but we also know it's the day of the Lord that coming at the end of time, right? Time as
Yeah.
we know it, the day of the Lord. And just the image they talking about, like, it will come as instruction from the Almighty. Therefore, hearts will be limp, every man's heart will melt, and they will be afraid. Pangs and sorrows will take a hold of them. They will be like women in childbirth. They will be amazed at one another. Their faces will be like flames. Behold, the day of the Lord comes cruel, but with both wrath and fierce anger to lay the land desolate. He will destroy its sinners from it. Which is
Mm-hmm.
so interesting, like thinking about them talking about Babylon, but also knowing that the day of the Lord when God judge us finally, like it's gonna be a lot of quote unquote destruction. People will be calling to the rocks to crawl to fall on them because they don't want to face this judgment. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just interesting, like how in an isolated sense, it also foreshadowing the final day of the Lord too.
Yeah. Yeah. So in general, day of the Lord is judgment, right? But it's not judgment as in I judging something, like I'm examining something. It's judgment as in the punishment, basically, like the word judgment used in the sense of punishment for sinners, right? And that's prophesied in multiple books. Like when we go throughout these prophets in the Old Testament, we're gonna continue to see the day of the Lord, the day of the Lord, in different contexts. But one thing that's consistent though, some of the metaphors and the imagery, like we already spoke about, I think we spoke about the day of the Lord in this book already, when kind of like when we reference Revelation. It was a parallel to Revelation when they want the rocks to fall on us. Like this was also mentioned in Isaiah, right? But um it was a text that you just mentioned too, bro. And it reminded me of something that Jesus said, bro. Verse 8. And they would be afraid, pangs and sorrows would take a hold of them. They will be in pain as a woman in childbirth.
Childbirth, yeah.
Right. And so remember when Jesus was talking to the disciples about the day of the Lord, right? It say wars and rumors of wars, right? Earthquakes in diverse places, right? But he said this is only the beginning of birth pains,
Mm-hmm.
the beginning of contractions, right?
Matthew 24, right?
Matthew 24. And so it's funny because this metaphor of the day of the Lord, it's going to be painful. Like this thing is going to be severe as when women did natural births during that time. It's probably still severe now. I don't know the difference, but just think about the childbirth metaphor. That's his thing. He said, bro, like it's going to be that they will be in pain like a woman in childbirth. Like this is probably the best example for excruciating pain that the world's going to be in. But Jesus now, when Jesus talks about, excuse me, the day of the Lord, and like this being before his return, the
Mm-hmm.
tribulation. He's saying, bro, when you see these earthquakes, these wars and all these things, these just contractions. You see what I'm saying? Some people in the world now, the way they look at it, to them this might be the day of the Lord for them. Like it's certain conflicts that's happening in the world right now, in cities and countries in Africa, you know what I'm saying, in the Middle East, like people who are actually at war. And they might be thinking about, but this is a sign that by the time soon come. But from the rest of the world, looking in totality, we know these just the contractions that's happening, you know?
bro. And even continuing like the consistency with scripture about the day of the Lord. Like several places in the Bible reference, like I mean, you go to like verse 10 where they talk about for the stars of heaven and their constellations will not give their light. The sun will be darkened in its going forth, and the moon will not cause its light to shine. Right.
Mhm.
I go to Joel chapter 2 verse 10. Before them the earth shakes, the heavens tremble, the sun and moon are darkened, the stars no longer shine. The Lord thunders at the head of his army. His forces are beyond number, and mighty is the army that obeys his command. The day of the Lord is great, it is dreadful. Who can endure it? Right? That's Joel. You go to, well, we know Revelation. And I
For
looked,
sure.
and you know what I'm saying? Like Revelation talk about like the sun, there was an earthquake, the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became like blood, and the stars of heaven fell to the earth as a fig tree drops late figs when it's shaken by wind. The sky receded as a scroll when it's rolled up, and every mountain and every island moved out of its place. And then we know Matthew 24.
24. Yeah. The same text we were just referencing.
Exactly. So like, man, it's consistency of the day of the Lord and this day of judgment. Like we see the Bible is specifically telling you things that are going to happen on that day of judgment in the last days. Like definitely the day of the Lord when that comes, that ain't gonna be a pleasant time for a lot of people. That's gonna be a time when the earth itself is crying out. That's gonna be a time when the sky, when the whole, that's gonna make the whole cosmos. The sun ain't giving you no light. The moon ain't giving you no light. The earth quaking. All the mountains moving out of their place. Like the world, no, it's time, buddy. It is time. All right,
Yes.
you want to go to chapter 14? Anything else from chapter 13 you want to point out?
Nah. Yeah, we could go to chapter 14. I ain't got nothing else.
All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. All right, chapter 14. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will still choose Israel and settle them in their own land. The strangers will be joined with them, and they will cling to the house of Jacob. Then people will take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel will possess them for servants and maids in the land of the Lord. They will take them captive, whose captives they were, and rule over their oppressors. It shall come to pass in the day of the Lord, it shall come to pass in the day of the Lord gives you rest from your sorrow and from your fear and the hard bondage in which you were made to serve, that you will take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how the oppressor has ceased, the golden city has ceased. The Lord has broken the staff of the wicked, the scepter of the rulers. He who struck the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He who has ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and no one hinders. The whole earth is rest and quiet. They break forth into singing. Indeed, the cypress trees rejoice over you, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since you were cut down, no woodsman has come up against us. It's interesting how, even before time, again, Isaiah was way before Daniel, Babylon is still being described as a golden city, bro.
Mm, even before it.
Like just really let that sink in. Like I know we going through Daniel and we skip ahead as listeners, right? And like just me and Kazi because we want like we feel like it was so important at the time, and it still is. But think about it, like in Isaiah, who was like over a century before Daniel, is describing a kingdom to come as a golden city, and just all the imagery of Babylon that we got in Daniel being the head of gold. Nebuchadnezzar building a whole statue fully of gold,
Mm.
like just like that's just like crazy.
Yeah, bro. And even last chapter, right? When
Mm-hmm.
they talk about the destruction, you see what I'm saying? Like when they emphasize like how it's going to be destroyed. And you look at Babylon today, bro. Like As a child, I had a revelation that Babylon was real, bro. It did not connect to me that this is not some type of fairy tale that we supposed to just believe in
Mhm.
type situation. Oh yeah, Daniel, all these things. Israel still was around, but I like, bro, I looking on the map. I ain't seen nowhere named
No
Babylon
one, yeah, Babylon ain't on the map no more. Yeah.
like, whatsoever, bro. You see what I saying? And then I Google it and it was like, oh, it's like Iran and Iraq, like Iran, that area type situation.
Iraq, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But it's like people, archaeologists, even to this day, they excavating ruins from
Mhm.
Babylon, bro. You see what I'm saying? Like that's the wall's still there, right?
Mhm.
But it's like, bro, as magnificent and as big and as glorious as the city was, bro, it's in ruins, bro. Like most of that is done, bro. Like you say, saying sand over it, like it's just really destroyed, in real life. And in chapter 13, it talks about the magnitude of it being destroyed. You see what I'm saying? And it truly did not have to happen. You know what I mean? That didn't have to happen because like we have nations that was around during that time but didn't go through that. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like
Which is crazy that Egypt never went through it, but yeah.
Egypt never went through it. Rome, you know what I mean? Like, not that I know of, for real. Like, just get completely destroyed. You know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
S- do, 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 do. Oh, sorry, sorry. Okay, so starting from verse 9. Hell from beneath is excited about you, mercy, to meet you at your coming. It
Hell,
stirs up the
hell
dead.
be hell be in the grave. By the way,
Yeah.
for those that said hell be in the grave in this context.
Hell from beneath is excited about you, to meet you at your coming. It stirs up the dead for you, all
Mm.
the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. They shall speak and say to you, have you also become as weak as we? Have you become like us? Your pomp has brought you down to Sheol, and the sound of your stringed instruments, the maggot is spread under you, and worms cover you.
Now, y'all, let's just consider the I was gonna say rhyme scheme, but let's consider the pattern that's here, right? Um, Verse 8, indeed, the cypress trees rejoice over you. This inanimate objects they
Mm,
talk about, and they personifying it because the cedars of Lebanon are saying verbally, since you were cut down, no woodsman has come up against us, right? Just metaphorically speaking, you were so destructive that when you get destroyed, even
we
nature
could thrive.
yeah, nature happy because like we can thrive now, bro. And then they talk about hell, the grave is excited to meet you come in, bro. They excited that this great nation is done. You see what I saying? We excited that this has come to an end, Um all the chief ones of the earth, they're excited to meet you coming. It stirs up the dead for you, all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nation. They shall speak and say to you, have you also become as weak as we? So they talking about all the people you done killed, bro. All the nations you done dry, you done get down. Everybody rejoicing at your downfall. This is metaphorically speaking. Metaphorically speaking, have you become as weak as we? It's the same as when like the trees talking, you know what I mean? Your pump is brought down to Sheol, and the sound of your instruments, the maggots, the maggot is spread under you, and the worms cover you. So, yeah, man. I just feel like I just trying to say in context, this ain't talking about like souls or like
Mhm.
spirit talking, but this basically talking about like dead body. Just rejoice. Oh, you dead? Just like us, almost like skeleton saying, "Bro, oh, you dead? Oh, yeah, you. This how you end up? All right, yeah,
You
cool."
thought again, like you thought, like you thinking you was more than just which is still so interesting, right? Like them prophesying about Babylon, because we know Nebuchadnezzar carried on.
Hmm.
You think you was more than just a mortal man.
Yeah.
You almost think yourself was God, bro. Like it's just interesting, like these, like how again all these things were just so intertwined. Like Like we had this prophecy about Nebuchadnezzar before Nebuchadnezzar.
Before Nebuchadnezzar, bro. Before, but even like not hey, not even just him, like just like
Mm-hmm.
these kings in general. Because when you think about
Belshazzar, all that.
all right, nah, the Bible don't come out and say. Well, first of all, we know the Medes was like that too. The Medes the one get worship, right? Babylon, um, Nebuchadnezzar the one get worship, straight up. You
Mm-hmm.
see what I'm saying? He the one get worship. But even Belshazzar, bro, we don't have that he wanted to get worship, but we know for a fact that he did not care about Yahweh, bro. I disrespect you. I eat out just sacred plates, bro. I drink it out just sacred cups, bro. That's how I think, but you see what I saying? And so like just the complete disregard for God. And I get it too, because when you do all that conquering, bro, it's hard not to be proud. You see what I'm saying? It's hard not, especially when you defeating other people who felt like they gods was considered. I don't think Israel, Judah was justified if they thought that.
Mm-hmm.
You read Jeremiah, there was other Pharisees and stuff like that going around saying, "No, God ain't bringing no destruction to you. Like God bringing us prosperity." So like,
Mm-hmm.
there was that confusion, but we did have prophecies from multiple prophets saying, "Bro, no, destruction is coming. Destruction is coming." But anyway, these kings, like we think about the pharaohs, right? The pharaohs historically were gods to their people. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like they were not only kings, but they were to be seen as immortal. Like, bro, there was some pharaohs, bro, that they servants had to die with them, bro.
But I was just thinking the same. But not even just say service, bro. They family, bro.
Oh, that's crazy.
Some of them was like, bro, like in some ancient kingdoms, bro, your family was dying with you, bro. You died, bro. They all y'all going into that tomb, bro.
Oh,
And I'm like, can I resign?
yeah, bro. Like, oh, can
Did
I
y'all
get
disown me?
yeah, like I say, can I get emancipated or something, bro? Because I want dad just because you dead. You have such a head start on life, bro. You know what I mean? I gotta die just because you died. You were 30 years older than me, bro.
Yeah, but that's. Mm-mm.
Yeah, bro. But it's like just the thought of kings feeling like they more than that. It's
Yeah.
that chase and that pursuit of power, like especially when you like Nebuchadnezzar and you conquer everyone. I conquer, but it ain't enough for me just to be king, bro. Because after I done beat the game, and there's nothing else for me to do. So now I want to be God now. You see what I saying? Like I want to be like God, bro. And
Gotta
like
max out my king potential.
for sure, bro. Like it's nothing. It's nothing else I could achieve here. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
want a new role, a new career shift, and like this thing, Daniel, right? When they talk about the beasts, right? All of these beasts have these characteristics. It's like they want you to worship them.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to worship them in some, and that's what I get from Daniel. Kings, they so gluttonous with power to the point where it's like, nah, bro, I want to be like God. You say I'm saying it's that same type of pride that, where the devil like caused the devil, and we're gonna get in that in a second. But we think about several prophecies in Daniel. We think about the prophecy of the beast, right? And the 10 horns and the little horn. You see what I'm saying? Pompous words, blasphemies and stuff happening. But then in that's I think that's Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 8, we think about the goat. You see what I'm saying? The goat with the two horns, right? And they was talking about how the horns went all the way up to heaven.
Heaven, yep.
You know what I mean? And let me see. The goat, yeah. And he even exalted himself as high as the prince of hosts. This is verse 11, Daniel 8, verse 11. And by him the daily sacrifices were taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down because of transgression. An army was given over to the horn to oppose the daily sacrifices, and he cast down truth to the ground. He did all this and prospered, right? And that's what we up against. That's what the nation of Israel was up against during the time of these of these beast powers. Like it's a consistent theme to understand. They ain't just kings, bro. These ain't just powers that rule a bunch of nations in the world, bro. I try to be like God. You see what I'm saying? And I get in places, bro, because I'm making changes to the way sacrifices happen and the way we worship God. I'm making fundamental changes. Daniel, in the book of Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? They was like, bro, when the music play, when the music play, y'all gotta worship, bro. I'm sorry, dog. Y'all gotta worship this idol.
Mm-hmm.
Even Daniel with the Medes and the Persians. Hey, no, for the next 30 days or however the time frame was, nobody prayed to no one but the king. You see what they saying? Like, bro, it ain't enough for them to be kings, bro. It's like we gotta be God too. Like that's what their goal. And I think that's the true measure of being a beast in the Bible. Like you go beyond kingdoms. It's like, no, I want to be God. I want to be God, you know?
Yep, setting himself up to be God. And that brings us right into verse 12. How you have fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. How you are cut down to the ground, you who weakened the nations. For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will also sit on the mountain of the congregation. On the farthest sides of the north, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet you shall be brought down to Sheol, to the lowest depths of the pit.
Now this a big chapter, bro. This a big. I mean, by Isaiah, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Most slapped on book in the Bible. I had to tell you it now, bro. Most slapped on book, bro. Excuse me. We getting information on Jesus before he come. You know what I mean? We getting information on the devil.
Yeah, boy. Isaiah pulled back the heavenly realm a little bit. You get to get some insight on some angels. You see the throne of God. You're getting some foreshadowing of Jesus, the prophecies about Jesus. Now you're getting some insight on the devil for real that you never
It's-
really had. The most we had so far was the accuser and the serpent.
yeah, and yeah, that's really what it was. You know, certain books of the Bible they don't even really talk with the devil for real. Like
Certain
um
a lot of them don't.
yeah, a lot of them, a lot of it, they don't, yeah, you know what I'm saying? They don't talk about the devil. I think the talking about the devil is more like New Testament. You know what I mean? Not that I talking about directly talking about
Mm-hmm.
Satan. You know what I mean? Um, so this verse though, I wanna address one of the elephants in the room with this verse.
Mm-hmm.
See in verse 12 it says, "O Lucifer, son of the morning," right? If we were to go to, let's say, give me a translation. Yeah,
NIV.
NIV. We were to go NIV, verse 12. It said, "How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn," right? The name Lucifer ain't there whatsoever. But now, if we read that in context of Babylon, it reads different. The realm of the dead, is a stir to meet you. Remember, we were just talking about that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Verse 11, all your pomp has been brought down to the grave, along with the noise of your harps. Maggots are spread out beneath you, and worms cover you. So, right, that to me indicates that we're talking about a human being, right? The Babylonian king or the Babylonian nation, right? Because we are talking about mortality, you know. And as far as I know, angels never die. Ain't no angel ever die. You see what I'm saying? So we talking about humans and mortality. Now, verse 12, how you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of dawn, right? You have been cast down to the earth. You who once laid low nations. Now, verse 12, it's hard to say this is a human, but sometimes the Bible gets so prophetic that you could say, okay, we speaking prophetically here, right? And then verse 13, you said in your heart, I will ascend to the heavens, I will raise my throne above the stars of God. So essentially, people interpret this as saying this is still specifically talking about the nation of Babylon or the kings of Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the translation you read, it is not as clear. However, there are things mentioned here that cannot explicitly be given to a mortal being. You see what I'm saying? Like, so like but I went back to the New King James Version. How you are cut down to the ground, you who weaken nations. That could be Babylon easily. You see what I'm saying? For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of
Of
God.
God. Yep.
Right. To
Go
me,
go for it. Yep.
it's compelling to me, and you kind of have me with this, but I ain't gonna take your point. But what is compelling to
Okay,
me,
take it. Take it. Take it.
okay,
Yeah, go
what
for it.
is what is compelling to me is that how could a Babylonian king who does not know about the Most High, you know about idols, right? Now, mind you, I'm not talking about this in context when Nebuchadnezzar converted his life.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking totality. We're talking about even people after him who obviously did not convert their life. How can you say I will ascend above the Most High when your Most High is day gone? You see what I'm saying? Your Most High is an idol. You do not know who God is, nor do you respect Him. To me, this aligns more clearly and cleanly with Lucifer, despite the fact that this translation just flat out says Lucifer, right? This aligns with Lucifer because Lucifer, we know about his pride. We have other texts in the Bible that that talks about his pride. You know what I'm saying? There's texts in Ezekiel that talk about his pride, right? Even in Revelation, when we talk about him falling with a third of the stars of heaven, you know what I'm saying? Right? And when we read this, it says, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will also sit on the mount of the congregation on the
Mm-hmm.
farthest sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. That is too intuitive to me of anybody that is not a Jew or not a follower of the Most High God to even have a thought like that. You see what I'm saying? And it doesn't fit no description of any Jewish person, any Jewish king. Period. Right? They are. We just talk about how the Egyptians thought they was gods or whatever, right? But they don't know. They don't know who God is. They don't know. And quite frankly, they don't believe that Yahweh is the Most High. This is explicitly talking about Lucifer. Now, two things can be true. This can be a metaphor for how Babylonian kings and kings of that stature are. They they follow after Lucifer in that they
Mm-hmm.
want to be gods.
They want to be like God.
They want to be like God, because that is true. We did see that they hey, worship me, right? But worshiping me and saying, bro, I am the same as this, if not greater than this, is two
Mm-hmm.
different things. You could say, hey, worship me like y'all worship him. But that ain't the same thing as saying, I am him. I'm God. I'm God, bro. He don't exist. I'm God. You know what I mean? Or I want to be like him. That's an ambition that Lucifer specifically had.
And I 1,000% agree, right? And even expanding on that point more, just about the imagery and the words that were actually used, right? They call him. I'm gonna go back to Isaiah real quick. So they called him son of the morning,
Mhm.
son of the morning, right? In Hebrew thinking, son of means you are characterized by this thing. So now you are the son of X. That means you are characterized by X in morning. The morning in Hebrew is so it's a glorious thing, and it's interesting, right? You go to Revelation, the last book of Revelation, Revelation chapter 22, right? Verse 16. Revelation 22, verse 16. I, Jesus, have sent my angel to give you this testimony for the churches. I am the root of the offspring of David and the bright morning star.
Mhm.
So it's interesting, right? Y'all call him son of the morning. Who's the bright morning star? Actually, Jesus, right? So now we see Lucifer trying to set up himself as direct competition to Jesus. So now this ain't really just talking about those simple earthly king. We take a step back into the spiritual realm now. We talking about Lucifer himself being characterized by trying to be like Jesus, but he ain't.
Mm.
And again, we just talk about pride and all that stuff in Proverbs, right? But Lucifer was very beautiful. He was a very glorious being. You could go in Ezekiel 28 and see the exact description of how Lucifer was the anointed and adorned cherub. All the different precious stones that adorned his body, all the windpipes that he had on him. Lucifer was always associated with music, and you go in Ezekiel and you see why. So now we're seeing that this being said, you know what? I want to be like God. I want to exalt myself above the throne of God. Ain't no mortal. What the kings of Babylon was trying to be God.
Hmm.
This person we started to talk to in verse 11 through 15, they wasn't trying to be like God. They were trying to be above God.
Right.
And we know it's only one being who was trying to be above God. So you could see, like I say, so it's when you get here, you could see some differences in just talking about a mortal man and mortal kingdoms.
Bro, I have a friend.
Mm-hmm.
I always pray for him from time to time. That's my boy. I grew up with him. Like me and dog never talk about God in our life, bro. And as a matter of fact, I just you could tell when somebody have a relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't trying to be this. I just try not to step on this ground because it get dicey because you don't know people heart, right? But
Mm-hmm.
you can tell when someone just do not have a relationship with God. I didn't know him to have a relationship with God. I know his family been in his house. We used to play game, all type of thing, right? Out of nowhere, he is like on fire for God, right? But he doesn't believe in Jesus. He's Old Testament and Book of Enoch and all of these books, the Jubilees and
Mm-hmm.
Joshua, them type books, right? He only addressed God as the Tetragrammaton, YH,
Mm-hmm.
WH, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? That. And I remember he keep talking, he always posts like Old Testament scriptures, long posts, bro. Nobody reads it. And one day he was talking about the falsity of Christianity because it was justified, because it justified slavery, right? And he
Mm-hmm.
was saying that in Old Testament they couldn't do that, right? They couldn't use the Old Testament. That was his point. And so we get into a conversation because I like that. This somewhere where I could get in because I know that you believe in the Old Testament. You
Mm-hmm.
see what I'm saying? And I'm like, hey, let's okay, let's talk. We got Old Testament scriptures that justify slavery and New Testament scriptures, but the thing that's not to be confused is the type of slavery or what slavery meant. You see what I'm saying? Indentured servitude, or like it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like a matter of because I show him New Testament scripture where it say like just where it speak against like kidnapping and
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. You see what I'm saying? So it's like it could not have meant this and still apply, right? That's when I learned. I'm sorry, I try not to go the long way, but long story short, we get to talking about Isaiah and how he felt that it's inappropriate to use Isaiah to justify Christ. He believes it's corrupt. I say, bro, it's like, bro, I could be real with you. I could use several different prophets in the Bible, but if every prophet that I show you that points to Jesus is corrupt, it just is what it is, bro. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and we was talking and we was having a good conversation. That's my boy, but I was kind of proud of him for really starting on what he believed, even though I do think he's misinformed. And he said something that stumped me, bro. He said, but another reason why I don't believe in Jesus, bro. Because in that same Isaiah, bro, what they call the devil, the morning star, right? And then in Revelation, what they call Jesus, the morning star, right? And I say, bro, I could be real with you. I can't speak on that because I never study it, and that's be my stance. But I don't try to
Mm-hmm.
talk, because no, I ain't gonna say nothing and give you no grounds in this argument. I said, but I ain't gonna speak on it because I ain't study it, bro. I can study it. We get back to. Just now, I realize that Isaiah do not say
They don't call him the morning star.
they don't call him the morning star,
They
bro.
call him son of the morning.
They call him son of the morning, bro. Bro, let me just look at NIV just to make sure, bro, because I could have
Sometimes they get a little freaky though.
yeah, I could have swear. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. In NIV, they call him morning star.
Mm.
That's the trick right there. Verse 12, chapter verse 12, it say, how you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of dawn. You see what I'm saying? And so, like to me, the implication was that Lucifer means morning star, right? But bro, in the King James, which I respect this translation specifically for this text and for most texts, but I respect it for this text because they call his name, right? They put a name on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they call him son of the morning, bro. Son of the morning, right? And then to me that aligns better, right? and people can pick in my argument, but it's still something that I'm studying too. But it says, hey, but it talks about Jesus, right? And when it says, I am the root and the offspring of David, we just talk about the root last episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Continuing this parallel, right? The bright and morning star. I am the, right?
Mm-hmm.
In today's day and age, when I try to call someone a carbon copy of me, I'd say, "But you my son, bro." You see what I saying? Like, bro, this rap style that I do, y'all my sons, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And but you just gotta remember that, bro. I fathered this thing, y'all follow suit. Y'all look at me too as a rep. Y'all try to emulate after me type situation, right? I feel like that's I ain't saying that's exactly what's happening, but that's a proper use of the metaphor son. You see what I'm saying? Because you emulate me. You know what I mean? Like, so you son of the morning, whether that was being sarcastic or satire or even saying that's what you have aimed to be, so that's why we call you that. At the end of the day, there's I am Jesus holds the title of the bright and morning star. You know what I'm saying? And I actually reject that Lucifer holds that title as well. I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, man. So let's go. Let's keep going. So verse 16. Those those who see you will gaze at you and consider you, saying, is this the man who made the earth tremble, who shook kingdoms, who made the world as a wilderness and destroyed its cities, who did not open the house for his prisoners? All the kings of the nations, all of them sleep in glory, every one in his own house. But you are cast out of your grave, like an abominable branch, like the garment of those who are slain, thrust through with a sword, who go down to the stones of the pit, like a corpse trodden underfoot. You will not be joined with them in burial because you have destroyed your land and slain your people. The brood of evildoers shall never be named. Prepare slaughter for his children because of the iniquity of their fathers, lest they rise up and possess the land, and fill the faces of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, says the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant, and offspring and posterity, says the Lord. I will also make a possession for the porcupine, random shout out to a porcupine,
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
and marshes of muddy water. I will sweep it with the broom of destruction, says the Lord. The Lord of hosts has sworn, saying, surely as I have thought, so it shall come to pass. As I have purposed, so shall it stand. That I will break the Assyrian in my land, and my mountains tread him underfoot. Then his yoke shall be removed from them, and his burden removed from their shoulders. And this is the purpose that is proposed against the whole earth. And this is the hand that is stretched out over the nations, for the Lord of hosts has purpose. Who will annul it? His hand is stretched out, and who will turn it back? This is the burden which came in the year that King Ahaz died. Do not rejoice, all you in Philistia, because the rod that struck you is broken. For out of the serpent's roots will come forth a viper, and its offspring will be a fiery flying serpent. The firstborn of the poor will feed, and the needy will lie down in safety. I will kill your roots with famine, and it will slay your remnant. Wail, O gate, cry, O city. All of you in Philistia are dissolved, for smoke will come from the north, and no one will be alone in its appointed times. In its appointed times. What will they answer the messengers of the nation? That the Lord has founded Zion, and the poor of his people shall take refuge in it.
I just fact check.
Mhm.
Lucifer means light bringing, but also translated to morning star as well. You see what I'm saying? So
Okay.
I just wanted to correct that. But so the text would say morning star and then son of the morning, son of dawn. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
To me, that's still applied because if I like, yeah, no, it's kind of like saying shining star, son of the
I mean,
morning.
but here's the thing: everything is context, right? Because think about it. If this was your name, especially when you was heaven, when you was created, that makes sense, bro. Because remember in Ezekiel, they call him, you were the seal of perfection, bro. This is what you were. You were these things. So like, so it was like this very well was like this was your name, and you let your pride get to you, and you've gone astray. But this is what you were. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You were adorned with all these stones. You were the anointed cherub, the, the guardian cherub. Like,
yeah, and to that verse, right? Because I wanted to use one more parallel to kind of drive it home for those who you know believe that this isn't talking about the devil or Lucifer whatsoever, but it's really in context to Babylon because you just read it straight through and you say, hey, this is one consistent person is talking about. And I get it, it could be confusing, but when we go to Ezekiel
yeah,
28,
yeah, okay, go for it. I got
Ezekiel,
it up if you want me to read it.
yeah, go for it.
So Ezekiel 28, verse 12, right? I was saying I might as well let's find it too. So Ezekiel 28, verse 12, Son of man, take up lament concerning the king of Tyre and say to him, this is what the sovereign Lord says. You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, a garden of God. Every precious stone adorned you: carnelian, charisite, and emerald, topaz, and onyx, and jasper, lapis lazuli, turquoise, and beryl. Your settings and your mountings were made of gold, and on the day you were created, they were prepared. You were anointed as a guardian cherub, so I ordained you. You were holy on the mount of God. You walked through fiery stones. You were blameless in all of your ways. From the day you were created till wickedness was found in you. Through your widespread trade, you were filled with violence and you sinned. So I drove you in disgrace from the mount of God, and I expelled you, guardian cherub, from among the fiery ones. We know the cherubs and seraphims, the fiery ones. Your heart became proud on the account of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor. So I threw you to the earth. I made a spectacle of you before the kings. So by your many sins and your dishonest trade, you have desecrated your sanctuaries. So I made a fire come out of you, and it consumed you, and I reduced you to ashes on the ground in the sight of all who were watching. All the nations who knew you are appalled at you. You have come to a horrible end and will be no more. But again, to Kazi's point, this was directed to the king of Tyre. So you got to ask yourself, was the king of Tyre
In the Garden of Eden.
in Eden? Was he on the Mount of God? Can
Was
we
he
say the king of Tyre was the seal of perfection?
was the king of Tyre blameless until wickedness was found in him? Right? That's the mystery of iniquity that we're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
How could wickedness happen out of perfection? It's a mystery. You see what I'm saying? And this I think this the one of the more compelling evidences in the Bible where prophetically we're talking about a king, right? But this king might be possessed by the devil himself, bro. You see what I'm saying? But we talking about a king because even in the text, the text start off by talking about the king.
Say this
It's
to the king of Tyre, yeah.
the king of Tyre. Like even in verse 1, it says that, and it says, because you have lifted your heart, saying that I am God. You know what I'm saying? But you will die like a mortal XYZ. Like that's the theme that was going to the king of Tyre. But then out of nowhere, we see a pivot where, wait, hold on, bro. Wait, you say he was a cherub? Like, you know what I mean? It just do not make sense. It just do not make sense, bro. Like, and this way you could see that God is directly talking to the devil because I believe the devil is controlling or greatly influencing the king of Tyre to be like this. And God know it ain't the king of Tyre who really doing this. It's the devil, bro. The reason why you like this is because of the devil, bro. And I let you know, devil, what's gonna happen to you? You see what I'm saying? Like I see through all of this, bro. I can just talk to you now.
Yeah, it didn't make no sense when you run over the king of Tyre.
Right. And so and that's the same thing we see with Babylon, with Lucifer. So I just in context, since we was already on that tech,
Mm-hmm.
wanted to just bring that back up to kind of solidify that point. And so now just to kind of just go back on what we were talking about in verse 22 and 23. They talk about the rise and cut and fall of, I'm sorry, the fall of Babylon. Fall rise up against them, says the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and the remnant. So you see
Mm-hmm.
the difference between Jerusalem and, and even Israel, where God talk about a remnant, but he like, bro, nah, bro, everything done. You know what I'm saying? The offspring and prosperity, right? We go to 24 through 27. Now we pivoting to the Assyrians, right? This God summarizing now. Like I didn't say all that, but
Mm-hmm.
let me just summarize everything I was saying. You see what I'm saying? Like um that I will break the Syrian in my land and on the mountains tread him underfoot, then his yoke shall be removed from them and his burden removed from their soldiers, right? Philistia, now God, um, now the Isaiah they get specific. This happened. This came during the year of King
It
Ahab.
has died. Yeah.
And now, if you remember in Chronicles, and I think it's Chronicles, Second Chronicles, but it might be in Kings too. The Philistines were defeated. Um, Hezekiah fought against the Philistines and was victorious against the Philistines. And Hezekiah is Ahaz's son. So this came during this prophecy of the destruction of the Philistines came during Ahaz, before Hezekiah was king. But it says, "Do not." Yeah, when you at the lunch table, right? I clown on
Mm-hmm.
you, right? No, let's say you clown on me, and Dom laugh, and I say, "Dom, I know you ain't talking." You know what I mean? Like I just really diverted. Like to me, that's what this remind me of. It say, do not rejoice, all of you in Philistia. So like God saying, all right, the Babylonians get their things, the Assyrians get their things. But you're like Philistia, don't rejoice now. Don't
It's
rejoice.
something for you.
And it's funny because it almost like the Philistines didn't like why you even get in this.
Mm-hmm.
Assyrians and the Israelites was trying to battle Jerusalem, and the Philistines want to jump in too and beat up on Jerusalem. Like this, so we could say, hey, we could just finish the job. But God was still on their side, because the rod that struck you is broken, for out of the serpent's roots will come forth a viper, and its offspring will be a fiery flying serpent. The firstborn of the poor will feed, and the needy will lie down in safety. I will
Safety.
I will kill your roots with famine, and it will slay your remnant. So we see God at just the last half of this chapter, God really just summarized, hey, you can get destroyed. This is my prophecy, being the Philistines, the Assyrians, and the Babylonians, and in actually in the Bible, bro, we get when all of them was fulfilled, bro. The Babylonians was fulfilled in the book of Daniel. That's where we read that. It's very short, it's very brief, but you can read it in history as well. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a better source to understand that. The Assyrians is detailed in Second Kings and
Mm-hmm.
Second Chronicles, and the Philistines in probably both of those as well, if not one or the other. So yeah, man. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
I mean, I think overall, like even from Proverbs and how we was talking about in 13 and 14, just really about pride, like how much pride can lead to your downfall, right? Like especially specifically here in 14, right? We talking about how these kingdoms, how Babylon was acting, like how these kings were acting like Lucifer, and we know like this was essentially like pride was his biggest downfall. We see when we just reading Ezekiel, the iniquity in your heart, the pride. You were saying you was going to exalt your kingdom above God. You were saying that you was going to be like that's the stars of heaven. Like to me, when you when you let your pride get a hold of you, your pride gives you a false sense of security, and you start thinking things true that aren't necessarily true. And like for a mortal king to say, you know what, my kingdom is so vast, my kingdom is so great. Oh, I must be a god. That's your pride. That's really your pride talking. Oh, my kingdom will never fall. It's your pride talking. And we see how, like you say, the mystery of iniquity. How could something that was created perfect? end up falling. And it's a mystery, but we see it's the pride where you start smelling your own juice. Lucifer was walking past the river, a mirror, and he say, huh,
Lapis Lazuli
bro,
is
I look pretty good, you know. He sing,
Emerald.
he sing one note and both he sing a whole 7-part harmony. He's like, huh, I sound good to you know. And then I look better than all right, bro. I different than all these other angels. There must be something different about me. I must be like them, but I ain't them. And the them I referring to is the same them who say, "Let us make man in our own image."
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? So he look around and he's saying, "Well, I better than all of these guys, so I gotta be like them." But that's where he falls short. I ain't like them, but he wanted to be like them so much because it had to be. You can't tell me I look this good, I sound this good, and I ain't God.
and see that's the thing because I start to because obviously I have pride amount of pride too. I don't know if that's obvious or not, but you gotta keep it in check. But pride is even something. It's so funny. Men and women struggle with that, but
Mm-hmm.
men are known for that.
No
You see,
fox.
like men are known for that, and it's so funny because like a woman can have that characteristic, and you would think, bro, you ain't supposed to be like that. You say,
Mm-hmm.
so man's supposed to be like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Bro,
because that,
and it's a society too, bro. Because if a man don't got some type of level of pride or self confidence, right? They like, bro, are you even a man?
bro.
Anyway,
And
keep
so,
going.
like, oh yeah, bro. So it's like, um, a lot of times you can feel like, bro, I want more. You know what I mean? I want more. And it feels so funny, bro, because it's like, bro, am I being like the devil? When I feel like, the Lord has blessed me, let's say with this house, right? The Lord blessed me with this house. I think um 4 years ago, bro, I didn't even know I was gonna be a homeowner, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Or I was gonna be a homeowner, or the type of home I was gonna own. But now I feel like I want a bigger house, right?
Mercy. I know the
People
feeling.
that's me being greedy.
Mm-hmm.
Big argument. I ain't here to deliberate. I have my reasons why I want a bigger house. But can I honestly say that's the same as the devil? Now, mind you, the house was a blessing, right? The attributes that the devil was given were a blessing from God, right?
Mm-hmm.
God gave him that. It wasn't him, right? And I can say the same thing with me and my blessings, right? But to want more, is that always equal to pride? And I say no.
No, because
Yeah,
we have to pledge our best. Sorry, keep going.
yeah, the prejudice enlarge my territory, right? Um, but think about this: the devil did not create himself, right? The devil ain't create he ain't assemble his gems. He ain't teach himself how to do nothing. The devil just wake up. The way he was created, he had all this. It's the same thing as people who are extremely beautiful and think about themselves as higher than others.
Mercy.
You didn't put in on that. It was luck. It was pure luck
Good
that
genetics.
you just that you had these genetics, bro. We don't get to choose our genetics.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? We don't get to, bro. That's why cosmetic surgery is so big now, bro. Because people trying to choose they features and stuff like that, right? But it's like, nah. You saying that you should be God, or at minimum you should be on Jesus level, right? Just because of how you was created. But you didn't create yourself that way, big fella. Jesus, the Godhead looking like, bro, I created you. So how you
Fox.
can say you on my level, bro? Like to me, that's where it's a distinct difference between wanting more as a person for whatever your motives is, right? And having the type of pride that the devil had. Like I'm trying to say, like, wanting more in a nutshell is not it's not an issue. You see what I'm saying? But here's how it was an issue for the devil. Isaiah 13 is a prophecy against Babylon, declaring its future destruction by a divinely appointed army. The prophecy states that Babylon, once a proud and mighty empire, will be overthrown like Sodom and Gomorrah, left desolate and uninhabited. Isaiah 14, however, begins with hope for Israel, promising that the Lord will restore his people and give them rest from their oppression. Then, we focus more on the downfall of the king of Babylon. where the famous words, "How you are fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the dawn," have been interpreted both as a reference to the Babylonian king and traditionally as a metaphor for Satan's fall. The chapter ends by reaffirming God's sovereignty. Not only will Babylon fall, but Assyria and Philistia will also face judgment, ensuring that God's plan for justice and restoration will prevail. But we'll talk more about the prophecies of Isaiah on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by your host, Earl Roberts. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.